Today we begin with a different note, something philosophical. Maybe because I am not in a positive mode, but in a pensive mode. I know, dear friends, that I have a soul. I am well aware that I have a body. And I also know that there is eternal conflict between the spirit and the flesh, the soul and the body. This struggle has been immemorial in the history of human race. It is beyond history. This was there before me. This will be there after me. We are not always to quench our physical hunger. There is something which discourages us or prevents us from the pursuit of carnal pleasures, the pursuit of the flesh, the pursuit of the body. And what is that? That is the soul, the spirit. This may not be there in all animals. This is a human instinct. This has been there in the human race. This will be there. But the form may vary, but the essence is the same. I have said I have a body, I am conscious of my body. Similarly, I am conscious of my soul. And there is an eternal clash between the soul and the body. In everyone's life, everyone is confronted with this question. Shall we pursue the call of animal instinct? Or shall we listen to the call of the spirit? I am in a quandary. Actually, I can't deliver. I don't know what I think in this respect. There are people who have sacrificed everything for the betterment of human race. Now they have forsaken the flesh. They have followed the paths of the spirit, the voice, the inner voice they have listened to. But what do they realize from such a spiritual pursuit? Do they receive anything in the physical sense? They may not be receiving anything. What they receive is that spiritual happiness that is derived from the divine sacrifice. As I have told you, the clash is eternal. It will be there throughout our life. You know, our life is but an intermission between the two momentous events. The first event is our births, and the second event is our deaths. On both these important events or occurrences, I or you have no control over it, over them. I have no control. I had no control over my births. I had no control over my deaths. I may die even now, maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow. I have no idea. So what is there is this moment, this important moment, this present moment. So if I can feel happy this moment, I will be happy throughout my life. That is the lesson I have learned. So this life is but an interval, an intermission between the two important events. This life over which we have our control. We can follow the paths which we would like to follow. We have some sort of control over our life. We can decide whether we should take the path of carnal pleasures without listening to the inner voice. We also can decide to take the path of spiritual satisfaction. The path of the spirit and the path of the flesh are two parallel, roads. Or they are the two sides of the same coin. So the problem is that we can't bring about a peaceful compromise between the two. This eternal struggle is going on in everyone. Why should I take the path of the spirit? It is better to take the path of the pleasures of life. Marry, have children, bring them up to the topmost rank in every walk of their life, and have children to their children. These are the human tendencies. A man who is not following this type of life, what does he achieve in the end? Does he achieve anything? Actually, this craving for the spiritual life is, in total contrast to the craving for carnal pleasures. The spirit is, or the spirit can be called, a carnivorous bird which eats into the flesh, into the body, into the carnal pleasures. That is spirit. Spirit is a non-vegetarian. In other words, it eats the flesh. It destroys. It annihilates the desires, the pleasures, the carnal pleasures. So the war is there in everyone's life. So there are leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, There are religious people like Buddha, Jesus Christ, and many other rishis in ancient India. And even today there are such people who have sacrificed family for the nation, for the whole world. I have an example, an eminent example for me in the form of our great Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi. I have the habit of listening to his speeches. I haven't seen any philosopher like him. He is telling philosophy in the simplest manner, which nobody can. His philosophy is understandable to anybody because he is using simple words. Today or yesterday, I think, I have heard him speaking on the day of on National Youth Day, which is the birthday of our Swami Vivekananda. And I have heard the simple definition of Nastika. Who is a Nastik? He asked. Our common understanding of Nastik is one who has no belief in God. But what Modiji and Vivekananda say is that Nastika is the person who has no faith in himself or herself. If I have faith in me, if I have faith in the spirit within me, then I am not a Nastic. I have within me the element of spirit. So that is faith. We should have faith in ourselves. We need not have faith in an external God. So, as I have said, there is the spirit within us. The spirit is a carnivorous bird which always is thirsty, hungry for the flesh. The spirit is like water, which extinguishes the fire of the flesh. The fire of carnal flesh is desires, etc. But ultimately, what one gets by forsaking the flesh, what does he achieve? He achieves a blissful status. Nothing more than that. We have learned, or we know, the supreme sacrifice of Jesus Christ. He has sacrificed his blood for the well-being of humanity. And in the book called or entitled The Last Temptation, the author thinks or imagines that even Jesus Christ did have the last temptation while he was lying on the cross, bleeding. What might have been his last temptation? His last temptation
might be that he should not have chosen the path of spirit. Only because he has chosen the path of sacrifice for the entire humanity that he had to face stones, nails, and the cross. Only because he has sacrificed everything for humanity. He has worked for the future of humanity. He has worked for the well-being of humanity. That was why he was crucified. That is the universal truth. Anyone who works for society selflessly is crucified. Any person may have this kind of temptation to leave the path of sacrifice and spirit because the world is throwing pelting stones at the person who has sacrificed, who has followed the path of the spirit. So this is the last temptation. If I have taken the path of sacrifice, I have taken a selfless decision